As you get your pieces cut out, it's really up to your group to decide when it's a good time to start putting things together. Something to consider though is structurally you never see a house that just has one wall up. It's because it will always want to fall over. So at minimum, you have to have 3 sides in order for things to go together. Then I do recommend trying to wait until you have multiple pieces before putting them together. But I always recommend you bringing pieces together after you cut them out to see if they will work. So for example, this side piece here is a nice fit down at the bottom and I've got a really good corner, but then I am going to have to do something because see how I have to get this piece to angle in, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But if you come over and look at this other side, you will realize somewhere along the lines I made a mistake. This is where you and your group need to talk through what to do. For me, since it took me so much time to cut out this big piece, I'm just gonna cut off this bottom part and no one will ever notice that my sculpture is about 1 inch shorter than it was supposed to be. Students always get concerned, like, well, how closely do they need to be to the actual measurements? Your goal is to be within 1 inch. So if something is supposed to be 5 inches big, you could build it as small as 4 or as big as 6. Then, when you're ready to put your pieces together, a lot of times students want to do it all at once. And you will see someone hot gluing and someone duct taping and someone cutting all within the same little workspace. That is very unsafe. So you as a group, this is when you need to work together and decide what to do. If I go back to my learning from step 5 or 6, I know that it is faster and more efficient for me to duct tape this seam here, or excuse me, for me to hot glue this seam here. But when I am needing one piece to curve into the other, the hot glue is constantly going to be wanting to pull apart. So in this instance, I would want to duct tape. When you are hot gluing, that is all you can do. You will bring your pieces over to the hot glue station. One person will have to hold the pieces while another person hot glues. You can, if the class allows, use 2 hot glue guns in the same area, but no one's ever cutting within the space that you're doing the hot glue. And then you have to have enough time to wait for the hot glue to turn back to that foggy color. If it is clear, even if I have multiple pieces put together, they will fall apart over time. When I need to duct tape 2 pieces, it helps to have one person whose sole job is to cut the duct tape. Also, you have to physically squish the duct tape in. Students will always come up to me and say, Russell, someone broke my project. Nope, it's because over 24 hours, if all of you do is that, the humidity in the air will slowly get under your tape and it will pull up and your project will fall all apart. It is common to have an entire project fall apart overnight, and I find it in the morning. So take the time to squish down your tape. You do little kind of sections, and I call this tagging, kind of a sewing term. From here, working with my partners, I can now take my pieces, and if I've got to push one into the other, it will take 2 of us to line the pieces up, and then again, I've got to push in my duct tape, and I've got to also, I don't want this seam here, I've got to push in my form so that one piece is influencing another piece so that I'm getting the shape of my object. After I kind of put these little tag pieces in, I need to look at it and see, does this compare enough with my object? I can see that it doesn't. I'm not getting that line here. This is where I would need to call over the instructor because they're there for our help. And the instructor, like me, is going to tell you that if we cut a small little shallow line right here, that will cause this to bend, which will look more like your object.